My mission is simple, to make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now. Hey, I'm Cramer. Welcome to Mad Money. Welcome to Cramer. I'll be able to make friends. I'm just trying to help you make some money. My job is not just to entertain you, but to educate, put days like this in perspective. Call me 1-800-743-CNBC or tweet me at Jim Cramer. We spend so much time criticizing the Fed that, frankly, it's disconcerting, if you ask me. If you listen to conventional wisdom, you think that Jay Powell can't do anything right. Whenever something good happens with inflation, we're told it's nothing to do with the Fed. But anything bad falls right at the feet of Fed Chief Jay Powell. Even today, with oil coming down gigantically, we're told it has nothing to do with the Federal Reserve's attempts to slow down the economy and everything to do with China using less oil. These guys cannot catch a break. Even when the Dow jumps 416 points, S&P gains 1.56%, and the Nasdaq vaults 2.59%. But you know who rarely ever gets any heat? Congress. Surprising, because it's one of the most consistently hated institutions in America, regardless of which party's running the show. I spent a huge amount of time pushing for the CHIPS Act. That was a $52 billion bill to promote domestic spending manufacturing, so we wouldn't be totally hostage to an industry that's mostly based on the other side of the Pacific. Yes, Taiwan, where there's such a big hoopla about the speaker going to. Look, we got a global semiconductor shortage, so I figured this bill was a slam dunk. We just needed Congress to make it less expensive for companies to build semiconductor foundries in America. I was so thrilled this thing passed. Until I found out the bill, now called the CHIPS and Science Act, would be $280 billion, not $52 billion. Turns out this was what's known as a Christmas tree bill, meaning the core legislation was so popular they realized they could get away with attaching all sorts of other ass and gimmies. Look, I'm not a deficit hawk, okay? But it's just stupid to spend all that money when all we needed was semiconductor incentives. Then there's the Orwellian-named Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, which is really just a slimmed-down rebranding of Biden's Build Back Better stimulus bill. And, man, if you're worried about inflation, these big spending bills are not the way to go. Personally, I think the Fed can tame inflation, but it drives me berserk that the same people who won't stop breaking Jay Powell over the coals for not doing enough to fight inflation rarely have anything critical to say about Congress, which at this point may be the chief reason why we have a lot of inflation. Say what you will about the Fed. They've raised interest rates dramatically to get inflation under control. Meanwhile, Congress is still in money printing mode. You think we got a labor shortage now? White-collar labor shortage? Blue-collar labor shortage? Where the heck are we going to find the engineers or the builders for these projects in the expanded CHIPS and Science Act and the Inflation Reduction Act? Private industry is already desperate for these people. Do you know that Raytheon alone needs 5,000 engineers right now, and they can't find them? You also need a huge number of earth movers. And Caterpillar, we learned just yesterday, can't make them in time because they're hampered by supply chain issues, which mean they'll end up raising prices just when the Fed needs to hold the line. I can go on and on. I know all the industries that will be impacted and the ones where there's little hope of finding more workers. Do not get me wrong. I did push hard to get the semiconductor bill passed because I was so concerned about Taiwan's vulnerability. We can't let them be our sole source for expensive chips that are needed to build sophisticated weapons when China seems to so eager to invade. It was a huge victory for Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo. She's a hero to me, a hero for her heroic efforts to get semiconductors built right here. But where did the other $230 billion come from? This economy can't handle that inflation spur. The whole thing is an embarrassment. Which brings me to tonight's homily. 15 years ago, our economy was about to fall off a precipice. The Fed kept tightening. 17 consecutive rate hikes over the previous 3 years. And I came on air on CNBC to talk about the market and instead just couldn't take it anymore. I knew the Fed was totally out of touch. They were crushing the economy when they thought that the economy needed to cool down. I've been talking to the heads of the largest mortgage companies, banks, and some of the top 5 brokers. They were begging me to go out and explain. They were going to go under. along with many others, because the Fed was just raising rates too aggressively. I needed their attention. I wanted to stop things so badly because it was obvious to me that America's financial institutions were actually all about to collapse if the madness continued. I was younger, of course, and the people from my class at Goldman and from Harvard were all at the tops of those firms these days. And you know what? They were all quietly begging me behind the scenes to speak out, but I wouldn't. And finally, I couldn't take it anymore, so I did. I took on the Fed, and it was a widely watched moment, the most prescient of my career. Take a look.
My people have been in this game for 25 years, and they are losing their jobs, and these firms are going to go out of business, and he's nuts. They're nuts. They know nothing.
Cramer.
I have not seen it like this since I went 5 bid for 500,000 shares of Citigroup when I got hit in 1990. This is a different kind of market, and the Fed is asleep.
Well, it didn't do any good. Things crashed. But I gave it a good college try. A lot of people said I was off my meds. Even someone I used to work on a morning show at 7 o'clock one. Anyway, now we find ourselves at another juncture. And this time, it's not the Fed that knows nothing. It's Congress.
They know nothing. They know nothing. They know nothing.
These bills could create a level of wage inflation that will make the Fed's job much more difficult and keep inflation raging. In fact, they're pouring gasoline on the fire, and they won't stop. My one consolation is it does take the government forever to start any of these projects, so the slow pace of the federal bureaucracy might be the only thing that can save us from ourselves. That said, I think commodity inflation, as I said, for the last couple of weeks has peaked, and anyone who disagrees with me must be out of their mind and can't read the paper or the web or whatever the hell you can find it. One of the Fed heads went to the supermarket the other day, stopped trading, and said she saw the pain. Wow, hold it. The supermarket is
the house of pain.
Are you kidding me? Sure, the supermarket's filled with overpriced food, but that's actually going to come down. It's why? Because the real cost of food is the cost of the paper and the plastic that surrounds it, and those are rolling over definitively. You need to look at the ingredients fed people, not the price tags. Hey, by the way, same goes for a house. Mortgage rates have spiked so much that we are about to have a glut. The bank stocks are telling you that, too. Just like the oil stocks are telling you where oil's going, and the chemical and paper stocks are giving up the ghost. How can they not see this? Because, like when I said,
they know nothing!
In 2007, and the Fed officials all the way, by the way, had a good laugh at me. Check the transcript. These people do not know enough about what drives commodity inflation. Unfortunately, the intractable portion of this economy is not the commodities anymore. It's the wage inflation. And the Fed now has to hammer private industry, because the government will be the largest nominal buyer of labor that's already been bid up by private industry. Don't get me wrong. I want people to make a lot of money. I don't want people to lose their jobs or their homes if the Fed has to crush the private sector with much higher interest rates because the Congress keeps spending. I have no idea how Jay Powell can stop the trillions of dollars in spending just when we have the lowest unemployment rate in decades. The bottom line, I am still a bull. I felt bullish since June when I saw commodities were going in the right direction. And I've been very confident about wage inflation, too, if not for Congress.
They know nothing!
If the rebranded stimulus bill doesn't pass, we've got nothing to worry about. But if it does, we can only hope that it takes years and years for the government to put that money to work. And once again, when it comes to Congress,
they know nothing!
Paul in New Jersey, Paul.
Hi, booyah, Jim.
Booyah!
This is Paul from Park Ridge, New Jersey, formerly from New Providence.
All right, fair enough. That's you're my neighbor.
Yes, okay. All of my holdings pay dividends, but I'm considering buying Alta, which doesn't pay a dividend. What's your long-term view on it, and should I break the mold of not having a stock?
We were all discussing Ulta being down so big today, and I've got to tell you, Paul, I think it's an opportunity. It's incredibly well-run chain. And, you know what, we spent some time with Dave Kimball, who's the CEO. I think he's doing quite a good job, so I'd go for it. Dennis in Connecticut. Dennis.
Jim, big booyah to you. Want to thank you for everything you do for us little guys.
Good man.
My question is about the defense sector. 2 months ago, the war was all over TV. Since then, we haven't heard nothing. You don't see nothing on TV. The gains that we made in the defense sector, we gave back, and it just seems like it's flat. Would you stay with Raytheon in this
Absolutely stay with Raytheon. I think Greg Hayes is doing a terrific job. Remember, they're more than just defense. I think that is a very good stock. Buy. I keep it. Let's go to Paul in Texas. Paul.
Booyah, Jimmy Chill.
Booyah, Paul. What's going on?
Oh, not much. Just, I wanted to talk to you about Ferrari. I mean, being that we expect consumer spending to come down later in the year, would it make sense to invest in a Ferrari, or would you look elsewhere at more economical options?
Oh, I like Ferrari very much. I wish I had my red Ferrari jacket that my wife makes so much fun of me for because it's a little tight. But you know what? I think that's a great stock, and I would own it. It's a little different. It's a little bit more volatile, but it's a very good company. All right, guys, look, I am still a bull. And I felt bullish ever since June when I saw commodities going in the right direction. I'd be very confident about wage inflation, too, if not for Congress.
They know nothing!
Oh, man, money tonight. The semiconductor bears chipped away at Cramer fame AMD today after earnings. But is the stock deserving of all that selling? I'm going to check in with the company's visionary CEO, Lisa Su. Then gold has seemingly lost its luster, right? So is it time to take a second look at the precious metal? I'm going off the charts to find out. It'll be very surprising to you. And with investors shunning the COVID plays, should we be circling back to a stock like Timo, Thermo Fisher? I'm getting the latest with the company's top brass. So stay with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.